Zesh Rehman, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us here at Astro Arena and Astro Supersport. I mean, how many years has it been since we met? I think it was in Shalam back in 2015, the last time we met.
I think it was 10 years ago, 2014, before one of our Malaysia Cup, either the Malaysia Cup final or the Malaysia FA Cup final. But yeah, I remember catching up with you. Obviously, it was a great time at that point in time when we won 3 trophies with Pahang, and it's gone really quickly.
I mean, the craziest thing about the last 10 years is we've seen you, I mean, from afar at least, I've been observing, and your trajectory in your life has just been astonishingly impressive. From being a player, obviously moving to Hong Kong, getting your coaching badges, moving back home to the UK, and your ascension towards where you are at the moment. It's just been an incredible journey so far.
Yeah, it's been memorable. So I think football is, gives you a lot of opportunities to explore. I've been lucky enough to play in England, Thailand, Hong Kong, Malaysia, and then to go back to Hong Kong and get on the coaching ladder as a player head coach was a brilliant experience. And then to come back to England after so many years, start as a youth coach first at Portsmouth, and then eventually into the first team to now getting promotion to the championship. It's been a whirlwind of a journey. I've just tried to embrace every step of it along the way.
I want to touch a little bit about the promotion, because even that process must have been such an emotional roller coaster. I remember, being alongside some colleagues here at Astro over a year ago, and we saw the news that you were going to take charge of the team on an interim basis for a bit. And ever since then, it's just been a crazy, trajectory with obviously with Mousinho coming in, and then you being promoted into the first team development coach position as well. And just a few days ago, securing promotion into the championship. It must have been an incredible 18 months of a journey with the first team.
Yeah, it has been. It has been. And when John Mousinho came in his first game, obviously I was interim assistant manager for the first 7 games. And then my first game with the first team was Tottenham away in the FA Cup. So I'd gone from preparing under 18 games in front of very few people to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. And then as the coaching team evolved, everyone's worked really well together under the guidance of Richard Hughes, the sporting director. And then John Harley's come in as an assistant, someone I played with at Fulham. And then we've got a very good group of people all helping, the goalkeeper coach, the analysts, all working together. And good people create good environments. And I experienced it when I won trophies out in Malaysia, in Hong Kong. And it's the same formula again, good people all working towards the same thing.
I mean, Zesh, you mentioned good people when you associate your time back with Malaysia. These days in Astro, I have the privilege of working regularly with some of the faces that battle with you on the pitch. One of the individuals that I work with very closely these days is Dato' Zainal Abidin Hassan, who is very, obviously such a key part of that Pahang management team as well. And then Razman Roslan is part of our punditry team at Astro. I want to talk a little bit about your time in Malaysia. When you look back, I mean, now that you're a coach, now that you're a completely different individual, when you look back at your time with Pahang, what was some of the most astonishing part about that team?
People say you want to create like a family atmosphere, but we had that. So Zainal was instrumental in that. Obviously, he's a legend in Malaysia. All the players loved him. Very, very well respected, not just by the local players, but also the foreign players. So Zainal set the tone. He was the main man in terms of creating that feel-good factor. But then players like Razman, Azamuddin, Akil, Gopi, Hafiz Kamal, all the keeper as well, I forgot his name now, I remember his name. Everyone involved in that played their part in creating a really, really good environment. The families would come together at the stadiums. We celebrated each other's birthdays. And it was just an amazing time to be in Malaysia and Pahang. My son was born there at the time as well, in Kuantan, so it'll always be a special place for me. So I'm glad to see that these guys are still involved in the game in some capacity. And I'm still in touch with Razman and Hafiz Kamal and a few other people, Azidan, so it's a real good group of people.
When I ask a lot of these individuals that same question about what made that Pahang team special, they always go back. I mean, they'll obviously have a lot of different perspectives and answers, but the common theme would always be the family aspect, the ability to create such a bond within a unit of competitive individuals, right? Would you say that, 10 years later, now that you're in in League One, in the UK professional football system as a coach, would you say that trying to foster that family spirit remains one of the most important part of coaching?
Yeah, it's a family spirit, or kind of like a gang spirit. You all look out for each other, so there's no selfishness, no egos. Everyone genuinely put the team first. So I remember in my time in Malaysia in the first season, there were times when only 3 foreigners could play. So at times Dixon didn't play, or I didn't play, or Matthias Conti didn't play, so it didn't matter to us. As long as the team won, that was the most important thing. Then obviously the rules changed in the second season where all 4 foreign players could play. And then the local players that missed out, they didn't complain or moan. So everyone genuinely working for a common cause to make sure that the Pahang state is serving those people, make that community happy. And in the end, we did, because we won a lot of trophies and it was a great time.
When it comes to your time in Pahang, obviously, the Malaysia Cup final was probably one of the most iconic moments. But if I were to ask you to rank some of your best moments in a Pahang shirt, what would it be?
I would say the first game. So we won in the cup at the stadium, the Prince's Cup, the King Cup,
Yeah.
and then obviously the FA Cup final at the Shah Alam Stadium. We were losing 1-0, and then we got a great goal from about 30 yards out, left foot, won the goal. And then we got an equalizer. Well, we got the winning goal. We headed it back to Dixon in the final minutes of the game. And then the Malaysia Cup final has to be the one, the penalty shootout. Everyone had scored. I scored mine. Johor missed their one, and Hafiz Kamal. That moment, I've got a great picture of that moment still. And, it's that adulation that everyone's worked towards. And just to experience it again the other night as a coach, to see the whole community of Portsmouth come together, see the players run on the pitch, the families, what that feeling's like as a player, but as a coach, it's much, much better because you've helped in some way, help those players create those memories.
I was just about to follow up with that question, but you answered it, because the question I was about to ask you was, is there a difference between experiencing that emotion as a player and experiencing that emotion as a coach?
The winning feeling you can't beat. So when you win, it's what you live for, because I'm competitive. We want to win everything we do. But I'd honestly say it's a better feeling as a coach, because you're thinking about several players, not just yourself, and you see things that you've worked on with individuals or a unit or some partnerships happen in games that make the difference. It's a really rewarding feeling to know that you've helped them with their game, and they've made the whole community of Portsmouth happy for a very long time, because it's been 12 years since they've been in the championship.
In your time in Malaysia, just to sort of wrap things up in Malaysia, who was the single greatest Malaysian footballer that you either played with or went up against?
I think we had the best local players at the time. And I have to say that, and they all had their own individual strengths. So Razman was a very good leader, a quiet leader, but always led by example. Hafiz Kamal, I think, had the best left foot in Malaysia, set pieces, shooting from distance. Gopi on the wing, Azamuddin on the other wing. We had the Ryan Giggs and David Beckham of Malaysia on each wing. So I'd have to say those players. And even though I played a little bit of him, Jalal at Pahang, he played a key game in one of the FA Cup games against Johor, and he was outstanding. So everyone, and in Malaysia, in Pahang at the time, I would say, for bias reasons, were the best locals that we had in the country.
Just a final couple of questions. When you started your playing career, did you ever imagine, that you would end up having such a journeyman trajectory in football? It's one of those things that when you play Football Manager, you travel and you manage in different countries, and you sort of get on this journeyman trajectory. Did you ever envision that happening for you?
Not in the way it did, not in the number of countries that it ended up being, and not for that period of time. So once I played in all the leagues in England, to be honest, until that first call came about Asia, I knew very little about Asia. I did not expect to spend then the next 10 years of my career in Asia, have kids born there, and then transition into coaching there. And to be honest, I wouldn't change it for anything because it's some of the best experiences I've had in my life. And at some point, I think it would be, I'm open-minded to a return to the region because it's a wonderful place, not just to play and coach, but to live also.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, Pahang fans would absolutely love it if they caught a glimpse of your face anytime soon in Kuantan or anytime in the future as well. And Sri Pahang are deep into the preparation as well. They're led by Fandi Ahmad. Dollar Saleh is still somewhat in the picture, but do you have a message for the legion of Pahang fans that used to cheer and chant your name over a decade ago?
Yeah, just do what you always do. Get behind the team because when that stadium's rocking and the Gaja song is playing, I still get goosebumps thinking about that. Sometimes, occasionally, I actually put that song on, because it just brings back really good memories. But the club's in good hands with Tengku Muda. We're still in contact with Fandi and Dollar as well. So a very experienced coaching team with Jalal in there and Coach Shah. They all know what they're doing. And obviously, it takes a bit of time for new foreign players to integrate. So I'll be patient with the new foreigners, but hopefully they can hit the ground running and help get the best from the locals. And it's a new season, new start. Hopefully, can make a good start. And who knows where it ends up.
Well, perfect then. I'm pretty sure the Pahang fans would absolutely love hearing that. We can't wait for the new season to start. At the same time, hopefully we get to see you in this part of the world at some point, whether it's a fan, whether it's a coach, we don't know. But either way, I'm sure that's something the Pahang fans would absolutely love and enjoy. Thank you so much, Zesh, for taking
All
the
right,
time
you
to
take
speak with
care.
us. Thank you so much,
Okay,
and hopefully we'll catch
hey,
up
mate.
real soon.